All right, let's talk about the magic of single sign-on, or SSO. You know that awesome feature that lets you log in just once to get into all your different apps? But behind that simple experience, there are two major technologies making it happen. You've got the seasoned veteran SAML, and then there's the modern challenger OpenID Connect. So, how do they actually work? And more importantly, which one should you use? Let's break it all down.
I mean, seriously, just take a second and think about how many passwords you're trying to keep track of right now. You've got one for your email, another for your bank, a different one for every single work tool. It is a total digital circus. We've all been there, right? Staring at that login box, and your brain just gives you nothing. So what's the fix for all this password madness? Well, that's where single sign-on comes in.
The idea behind SSO is actually super simple. You log in one time with one password you trust, and that single action becomes the key that unlocks all your other services. No more password juggling. That's the dream, right? And SAML and OpenID Connect are just two different ways of making that dream a reality.
Okay, so now that we're all on the same page about what SSO is trying to do, let's introduce the two heavyweights in this space. They both get us to the same finish line, but wow, they take completely different routes to get there. So in one corner, you've got SAML, that stands for Security Assertion Markup Language. Yeah, it's a mouthful. And in the other corner, we have OpenID Connect, which most people just call OIDC. They both get you logged in, for sure, but the way they're built makes them perfect for very, very different kinds of jobs.
The best way to think about SAML is like a corporate ID badge. When you swipe that card at the office, it does two things. First, it proves you're an employee. That's authentication. But it also tells the system which doors you can open, which floors you can go to, which specific files you're allowed to see. That part is authorization. SAML handles the whole shebang.
Now, on the flip side, OpenID Connect is more like your driver's license. When you show it to get into a club, it just proves you are who you say you are and that you're old enough. That's it. It's pure authentication. It doesn't say anything about whether you have VIP access or can go into the back room. OIDC is modern, it's lightweight, and it is laser-focused on just that one job, proving you are you.
So you can see the big difference is what they communicate, but how do they actually pass that information back and forth? Let's peel back the curtain and get into the nuts and bolts a little bit.
Okay, let's look at their technical DNA. SAML is the established player here. It's been around for a while, and its language, XML, kind of reflects that. It's very structured, very detailed. It sends these big data packets called assertions. This gives you a ton of granular control, but it also makes it a bit heavier and more complex to set up. But then you have OpenID Connect. It's the new kid on the block, built right on top of OAuth 2.0. It speaks in JSON, which is super lightweight and easy for modern web and mobile apps to understand. It sends these little ID tokens with simple claims through APIs, making it much, much faster and way easier for developers to work with.
All right, I know that was a little techy, but it all leads to the most important question, right? When do you actually use one over the other? Well, it really depends on what you're trying to build. SAML really flexes its muscles with that powerful control over authorization. That makes it the perfect choice for big, complex company systems. You know, think about a secure portal for a hospital. You don't just need to know that the person logging in is a doctor. You need to know which specific patient files they're allowed to see. That kind of detailed, granular control is exactly where SAML excels.
But what if you're building a sleek new mobile app? In that case, you just need a really fast, really efficient way to sign a user in and confirm their identity. You don't need all that heavy authorization stuff. OpenID Connect is built from the ground up for that exact kind of high-speed, streamlined authentication. It's a no-brainer for modern apps.
So, we've covered the what, the how, and the when. Now let's just wrap things up by looking at how you actually decide which path to go down.
And this is probably the single most important thing to remember. It's not a battle of SAML versus OpenID Connect. It's not about which one is better. That's the wrong question to ask. The reality is, a lot of companies actually use both, picking the right tool for the right job at the right time.
So, when you're making the call, it really just comes down to asking a few simple questions. First, what do you actually need? Do you need that deep, granular authorization, or do you just need fast, simple authentication? Second, what kind of apps are you connecting? Are we talking about big, old-school corporate portals or brand-new mobile apps? And finally, what can your team realistically handle? Answering those three things will pretty much always point you to the right answer. At the end of the day, SAML and OpenID Connect are really just different kinds of keys for our increasingly digital lives. They both help secure our world and, let's be honest, make it a lot less annoying. But as everything gets more and more connected, it does make you wonder, what's the next evolution of our digital identity going to look like? What kind of key will we be using in the future, and what incredible new doors is it going to unlock?